Yo, this bun recipe is a nice one that will have you coming back for more. It brings a sweet, soft, and savory punch that is next level. Once you make it, you won't want to stop. Trust me. Today, you're not just baking, my friends. You're bringing a taste of the Caribbean straight to your kitchen. This right here is bun, a sweet bread packed with raisins and warm spices. I remember getting fresh bun from the bakery in the morning before going to school, man. Bun was a must anytime you went to the bakery in the Virgin Islands, and today I'm happy to share that experience with you. Now it's time to get into the recipe. Let's start with toasting our spices. To a heated pan, add 2 large cinnamon sticks, a half a tablespoon of allspice berries, and a quarter of a nutmeg. I like doing this because it helps release the oils from the spices and it brings a nice smelling aroma to the dish without any extra additives. Yo, make sure you stick around until the end, man. I'm going to show you what we pair with fresh bun in the islands. You're not going to want to miss it for real. Toast the spices for about 1 minute and continuously move them around so they don't burn. After they're nice and toasty, drop them in a plate to cool for a couple minutes. Then throw them in a spice blender or whatever you have to break down your spices. Also, when you're making your own spices, you can tell the difference from the jump by the strong aroma it gives off. This right here is going to bring a nice punch to your bun. Let's talk raisins. Soak 150 grams or 1 cup of dried raisins in warm water for 5 minutes. This helps prevent the raisins from pulling moisture out of your dough and keeps them from burning during baking as well. After 5 minutes, drain the leftover water and remove any extra moisture from them. Yo, I'm using this salad spin I got from Target and it does a nice job removing moisture from your food. You could also pot them with paper towel, but the main goal is to remove any excess water clinging to your raisins. Let's start blooming our yeast. Whisk in 300 grams or 1 1/4 cup of evaporated milk, 177 grams or 3/4 cup of spring water, and 126 grams or 1/3 cup of raw honey. The honey not only brings a hint of sweetness, but kickstart the feeding process for the yeast, giving you an early look in case your yeast is bad. Also try using good quality honey if you can. Warm the mixture to around 100 to 110 degrees Fahrenheit. Once it reaches that temperature, whisk in 10 grams or 1 tablespoon of active dry yeast. Cover it and let it sit for about 10 minutes. Once it's fully bloomed, your mixture should give off a yeasty aroma, have visible bubbles, and rise slightly. That's what you should look for to make sure your yeast is active and ready for baking. Time to prep the dry ingredients. I'm using a stand mixer for this part, but with a little elbow grease, you could definitely get the same results by hand. In a mixing bowl, sift in 700 grams or 5 1/2 cups of all-purpose flour. Make sure you use unbleached organic flour. It gives the bun a way better flavor after baking. Whisk in 10 grams or 1 1/2 teaspoons of fine sea salt, your toasted spices you prepared earlier, and the seeds from 1 vanilla bean pod. I love adding a touch of vanilla to my bun, and there's no better way than grabbing it straight from the source. If you can't find a vanilla bean pod, substitute with 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. Take your time and mix up all your dry ingredients. At this point, add 55 grams or 4 tablespoons of softened unsalted butter and whisk until it's fully incorporated. If you're mixing by hand, run the mix to your fingers and the texture should feel like damp sand. Switch to the dough hook attachment and slowly pour in the bloom yeast mixture, followed by 1 beaten egg. Eggs add richness and help make the dough nice and tender. Continue kneading the dough until it starts to come together. Then fold in the soaked raisins. By now the gluten has begun developing, making this the perfect time to mix in the raisin without tearing the dough. Knead until the dough becomes smooth and elastic. After 15 to 20 minutes, you should be able to stretch the dough thin enough to see right through it. That's called the window pane test, and it's a sign that your dough is ready for the bulk rise. Shape it into a ball, place it into a lightly greased bowl, and cover it so it doesn't dry out, and let it rise for about 1.5 hours or until it doubles in size. After 1.5 hours, just look at this beauty. It's double in size and is ready for pre-shaping. Punch down the dough to let out all that air, then I like to grab my bench scraper and gently loosen it up from the bowl. Dust your surface with a touch of flour. Gently place your dough on top to cut it up into 6 equal pieces. If you have a kitchen scale, each one should be around 235 grams. But listen, if you don't have one, no pressure. Just use your iMan. Either way, these buns still gonna come out proper. Now, grab each piece and press it down with your fingers to push out some of that gas. Start pulling the edges into the middle, flip it over, give it a nice twist, and pull it towards you on the table to build up that tension. That's what helps the dough stand tall. Once you get the rhythm, it will feel natural and you'll be shaping like a pro. What we're really doing here is setting it up for the final proof. That last rise is where it happens, giving you buns that's soft, airy, and full of life. Place the shaped dough on a lightly greased baking pan. I'm using a large pan for this step and I like to set it in the oven just with the light on. That gentle warmth helps kickstart the final rise, and let it sit in your oven for about 1 hour. After an hour, you'll see the dough has doubled in size, and this is exactly what we're looking for. Whisk together 1 egg with a splash of evaporated milk to make a quick egg wash. Then gently brush it on each piece of bun. Applying egg wash gives the bun that beautiful shiny golden crust. Bake your buns for about 20 minutes, and this is my favorite part. As they cook, your whole kitchen should fill up with that sweet aroma just like in a local bakery in the morning. After 20 minutes, pull them out the oven and give them a few minutes to cool. There you have it, sweet, spiced, and fresh out the oven. This Caribbean bun is soft, rich, and filled with flavor. Here's the kicker. Add a slice of cheese while it's nice and warm. And just like that, you've got a little piece of the Caribbean right in your hands. This right here is pure island comfort. Alright guys, there it is. If you enjoy the video, make sure you like, comment below, subscribe to my channel, but always remember, where there's a will, there's a way. Peace.